What's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life, and I welcome you guys to the 24th episode of the Wireless Weekly Recap. If you're new to the channel, this is where we recap stuff that happened throughout the week, and we also talk about new developments. This is a longer video, so make sure you have your drink, coffee, popcorn ready, and let's get right into it. So the first topic I wanted to talk about, which is actually one that broke not too long ago. T-Mobile's John Legere not expected to become new WeWork CEO. So this is a big story, not just for everyone that doesn't want him to leave, but also for the merger. This was a wrong time for this info to leak, but now there was a press release that came out that says John is not expected to become the new CEO of WeWork. Now, again, that doesn't mean he's not going to leave the CEO position of T-Mobile once the merger goes through. He's still expected to step down of being the CEO of T-Mobile once the merger is approved. Now, as I said in my other video when I first announced this, I didn't think he would go to another company or work again. I think he would just retire or become a part of the board members of the new combined company. I just think that makes the most sense in my opinion. But then again, I could be wrong. He could be venturing off into something else, because that's kind of what happened before he joined T-Mobile. He wasn't doing anything really. He was just, he was divorced, going home every night, and then people just started telling him, you need to start working again. And that's when he found the T-Mobile adventure and became their CEO. So I just wanted to bring this up quickly. I felt like this was important, but John is not expected to become the CEO of WeWork. So we got that all cleared up and done. So the next topic that I wanted to speak on, which I feel like is going to be the biggest issue going into 5G, because it is still an issue in 2019. So AT&T is throwing out numbers that they're expecting major 5G handset upgrade cycles to start in 2020. I don't agree with that. I think that's just throwing out numbers. We still have people now that aren't on LTE devices. We still are not 100% LTE on the device side. I still have people I work with, coworkers that have iPhone 4Ss, iPhone 5, iPhone 6. So there are still many of those people out there that don't have devices that are up to date for the most newer technology, let alone 5G. We just had an announcement of the VERIZON phone. In my opinion, I mean, it's innovative or whatever you want to call it, but not for $1,500, and it doesn't come with half of the technology that the newer phones come with. So people just aren't going to spend $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 on a new phone, on a 5G phone, when there's really no benefit this early on. So the only way there could be a partial major handset upgrade if the carriers just make it a permanent 5G permanent in the phones, to where there's not a separate model. So next year, if we get a new iPhone and it's just, the 12 Pro, whatever they're going to call it, and 5G's included in that, then we may see a spike in 5G phones. But if Apple releases a separate 5G model like Samsung has been doing, you can forget it. The hardcore, the power user, they may get into those phones, but the average consumer is going to take a while before they catch on. So I really don't know what AT&T is basing this off of, but I just don't see this happening at all. Not that we still have these, when we still have these LTE phones that are older. I mean, the iPhone 5 on Verizon, they can't even do voice over LTE. And they want to turn off the older technology in 3G here pretty soon. So they're moving forward. So they need most of that spectrum to be converted over to LTE. So people have to start upgrading to newer phones to get the most efficiency out of the network. And they're not even doing that just yet. So I don't know how AT&T is expecting a major handset upgrade cycle to start next year all of a sudden. I just don't see it. Maybe you guys do. Let me know in the comment section down below. Maybe you think, hey, look, we're gonna get thousands and thousands of people to get into 5G phones. I mean, I've even seen it in the comment section for people that follow the channel. You guys are saying I'm not even getting into a 5G phone just yet. So I would really like to know where these numbers are coming from. But then again, all the major carriers have their statistics and their analysis. So maybe that's what they came up with when they checked into them. So the next topic that I think is a big one is T-Mobile and Sprint announced a new location of a new support center, and it's in New York. So the second they're going to open a second proposed facility to be built in New York, and it'll create 1,000 local jobs there. So this is the second one. They've announced one earlier in the year, and again, this is another move to appease the states, of course, and specifically the state of New York. And I just think the new T-Mobile could potentially present these types of jobs if they really stick to what they say. That's the big thing in this merger. Every single thing right now is really just talk. It has to be proven. There is a certain period that they have to meet, a certain standard where the FCC could potentially fine the company somewhere around 2 to 3 billion. But even that, at that point, getting that type of merger to pass through would be a very small cost of doing business if you're only fined 2 to 3 billion at that point. So the big thing here, in my opinion, has to be that they stay true to everything that they say. That is the biggest concern out of anybody, I think. Is the company going to be able to do what they actually say? That's what everybody's looking forward to. And once the lawsuit is dropped, by the way, some are expecting the settlement to be reached before Thanksgiving. Will that happen? I doubt it. But that's what some are saying around the industry. If not, then we are going to go to the trial on December 9th. But there's a lot of mixed feelings. But T-Mobile is more than likely going to come out on top because they have the federal approval. So that's what's being said right now around the industry. But again, there are some concerns, and rightfully so. If you watched my video with all of the numbers on postpaid, strictly postpaid, not including prepaid or wholesale, T-Mobile and Sprint, they don't look like they can compete on a larger scale with those low numbers. But even having the combined number and moving into second place, in front of AT&T, where does that leave Dish? Dish is pretty much entering the postpaid industry as a fourth nationwide carrier with 0 customers. 0, pretty much. If we're being honest, the 9 million or less now that Dish would be gaining is all considered lower income prepaid plans. That's not enough ARPU to be pushing as a fourth nationwide carrier. That's why essentially they're saying Dish would have to lose some of those customers. And in some, I'm talking millions, like 2 to 3 millions, they would have to throttle or do whatever they need to do to get them off the network and get them onto another network, just so they can increase the average price per user. And they need a higher one because they want to compete effectively in rolling out their network, and then eventually compete on having being a postpaid carrier and getting people in that pay at the end of the month. But at that time, is that premium customer that T-Mobile now at that point would be effectively competing for, really interested in Dish Network and their pricing points? Because at that point, all 3 of the nationwide carriers would have a very solid, compelling competing network against those 3. Against all 3. They're going to start really competing because there's money involved now with the new T-Mobile, much more than what they have now. So Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile are really going to compete in a lot of markets, and it's really going to be hard to differentiate the 3 on network performance, because AT&T may increase CapEx, Verizon may increase CapEx, T-Mobile at that point could increase CapEx, they would have a ton of spectrum, and then going into 5G, are you really going to be able to separate the network performance when you have three carriers neck and neck? It's just going to be very hard for Dish to get any market share in that type of competitive environment. So the whole deal was for them to enter as a fourth, but I could tell you with confidence it's going to be harder than what a lot of people think. It's going to be very hard for Dish to enter as a fourth player. And even now, if the merger doesn't go through as a fourth player, Sprint still has 33 million postpaid customers that pay at the end of every month. Dish doesn't have that to start off. So Sprint would still be in a better position to compete potentially for more of those type of customers because they have some sort of cash flow coming in from those customers that pay, and then they would potentially have to, of course, make the network better, but they could potentially compete better in short term, midterm than Dish could right now. So I want to hear your opinions in the comment section down below on all this. This concludes episode 24 of the Wireless Weekly Recap. I look forward to the one next week. Right now is a slow period in the wireless industry. I'm sure most of you that have been following the channel for some time now are know this. So we got Thanksgiving coming up. So we should have one more announcement of the Elite plan going live. There are being some tweaks made on it. So definitely stay tuned to the channel for that announcement from AT&T. And then we just gotta, I'm gonna make some more content. And then the big announcement during the holiday quarter is gonna be the Sprint and T-Mobile merger on December 9th, which is gonna be a really, really big thing to see if they delay it or if they actually approve it and drop the lawsuit. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload content like this. Also, also follow all of my social media outlets for more updates. And this is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.